to our Life on the Island podcast. We're so excited because we have a great episode for you today. If you haven't, make sure you click back on the previous episode where we spoke to our learning and development team. It was a great chat, so check it out. But today we have an amazing guest. I'm just going to hand our guest the whiteboard while I continue the intro to write your intro mantra, and we'll get to you in a second. But we're super excited. We've got another episode lined up next month, so make sure you check it out. I'm going to introduce today's guest, who is going to tell us his mantra and tell us his name, and then we'll get into the conversation. So can you tell us who you are, what you do, all the good stuff?
Okay.
Tell us your mantra.
My name's James.
Yes.
As you know. I work in the property team.
Yeah.
Specifically the leasing part of it. And there's various different teams. And then do you want me to write the mantra?
Yeah, you write your mantra, and
Okay.
then I'm gonna get you to explain your mantra. Tell us why. Give a little bit of inspiration to everybody watching, because we just know you're an inspirational guy.
Awkward.
You've got all of the nuggets that we're going to share and get into in this podcast. No pressure.
Am I holding this up?
Yes, please. So if you could show everyone your mantra, any camera is fine, maybe to this camera. Are you checking the spelling?
Yeah. Could you tell? 3 times. I can't spell. It's not about what you cannot do, it's what you can do.
Love that. Can you explain why you've chosen that to inspire?
So I think there's a lot of focus, a lot of time about negativity, and sometimes that comes straight to people's minds about what's not possible, why they can't do it for whatever reason. It's hard sometimes for people to focus on what actually they can do and what's actually in their control. I feel like if people focus on that a lot more, your life's going to be a lot easier, other people's is going to be easier. There's going to be a lot more positivity around the place. And the other side it fuels negativity, and negativity is infectious.
Yeah.
Which I hate. I like positive people.
Good vibes.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Yeah.
Good vibes.
So I feel like if you stick by this, there's a lot of possibilities. It's going to open a lot more doors, and people are going to enjoy working with you, which is also key.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah.
Love that. Thank you.
No worries.
So let's find out a bit more about you. Talk to us about your role into property. How did you get there? How did you figure out that you wanted to do property?
So I went to uni, and I was a bit like most people at 18 when you go to uni.
Yeah.
Not 100% sure what I want to do in life. So went and did business management with marketing at Brighton, which was amazing to get away from home, but it wasn't necessarily the right start to getting into property. And then after university, like most people, I just fell into a job because you need money to live, which is quite key. And then that was in residential property, which I didn't enjoy, and I kind of floated around a few different areas within property, so residential, commercial, development, and I never found something. I knew I liked property, but I never found something I loved.
Yeah.
And then I was working somewhere else, obviously, and then I went for an interview at Arcadia, which was the old Topshop, Topman, Burton, and a few other brands. And I remember going into this office, my old bosses always laugh at me because I went suited and booted, tie up to nines, polished shoes, and that didn't suit the environment that I went in.
First day of school vibes.
Yeah, first day of school vibes. And I went in and I sat down and I thought, no, what have I done? But they loved it, so it was great. And then as soon as I went in there, I just felt a different buzz, different atmosphere to any other property role or in place that I've worked in before. Retail is very different and the people are very different. And from there, I just knew that I wanted to be in there, and I managed to get the job. I'm still not sure completely how, but they gave me a chance, which was amazing because I didn't really have loads of experience in the retail industry before. And then from there, I just have stuck at it, and I don't think I'd go anywhere else, to be honest.
I love that.
So yeah, River Island now?
now you're here.
Yeah.
Now you're here.
Yeah.
You kind of told us about your journey, and now you're here on the island.
Yeah.
Lucky to have you, we think. I'm joking. Joking.
Yeah.
What
Something
does your
not.
no comment. What does your role look like? What's day-to-day things that you kind of get up to?
So I always use the example, it's a bit like, some people don't completely understand what we do. So when you rent a flat, for instance, or a house, you'll usually do like a 1-year tenancy. Commercial is exactly the same. So for all our 200 plus stores, we've got leases on all of them, and that they will come to an end at some point. So a large part of our job is, as they come up throughout the year, we have to renegotiate to try and stay in the store if we want to stay, or negotiate better terms, i.e. cheaper, which isn't always possible for whatever reason. That's a large part of our job.
Yeah.
And then on the side of that, which is also the really exciting and fun part, is identifying relocations for whatever reason, new stores, upsizes, maybe store closures. So that's a large part, and that's kind of the bread and butter. That's the stuff we do every day. And then there's other bits to that I also deal with a colleague, which is service charge, which
right.
Not a lot of people understand what it is. And,
you've lost me, I have no idea.
And business rates. So like if you go into Westfield, for instance, like the security guards.
Yeah.
Who do you think pays for them?
Westfield. I never thought, that's never occurred to me that we would contribute to that.
Yeah, so all the retailers have to pay a service charge, and that pays for the centre and the running of it, which you think you just pay rent, you don't pay that. And then business rates as well. And then just liaising with loads of teams. So we work with a lot of teams like shop fitting, finance, in-house solicitors. And then the great thing about our role as well is that we speak to a lot of other retailers, which I'm not sure how much the other teams do. They probably do, but i.e. the property departments within those teams we make a lot of connections with, and landlords and agents, and meeting a lot of interesting people.
That's super interesting. I never thought that it makes sense that you would connect with other people within your sector in property, in retail.
But you find out like how certain other retailers are doing, can't mention who, but you get to learn.
Drop the tea. No,
you get to learn a lot, and then also I love getting out to store, which is a large part of it. Getting around the country, meeting the store teams.
Yeah.
Because they've all got a story to tell. Some of them have been here so
it's
long.
so nice hearing people's stories and everything that they kind of get up to, learning about their world.
Well, they've been here for like 30 years working in store, which is amazing.
Yeah. Of the list that you just gave me of what you do, what's like your favourite? If you had to pick one thing.
One thing.
Just one.
New stores, relocations.
And then seeing it like alive.
Yeah, because it's something you work on from nothing's there.
Yeah.
And then suddenly at the end, it's like this wow factor when you walk in, and you know you've helped create that, which is amazing.
That sounds amazing. You've been there from the beginning as well.
Yeah, which is great. Which is great.
Like
just an idea. It's come from your brain, an idea about what it could be.
And now somebody's shopping.
Yeah, which is great.
And next time I go into a River Island store, I'll be like, James was here. He created this. This is all you.
Probably not all of them, but maybe a few.
The best ones.
Yeah, the best ones. Best ones only.
So we just spoke about store locations and you kind of like helping be a part of the kind of catalyst of like new stores and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What goes into finding a location for a store and like picking the right place and store reopenings, all that stuff?
So key factors that probably influence how you make a decision, locations always usually number one. So I always say you could have the best store in the world, but it could be in the Sahara Desert. It means absolutely nothing. Then the store layout and the frontage. So for instance, you could have a great location, but the vast majority of space could be in the basement, which is not ideal for us because women's is our largest part and we want that on ground floor. So that's a large part. Adjacencies, so who you want to be next to. that's a key part. You don't want to be next to certain retailers, not naming any names. You want to be next to where people are buying the fashion. You want to be next to competitors because you want them to view you aligned sometimes with those. And then rental terms is a big one. So like, what can our team actually negotiate the lease for, i.e. what rent we're paying? And then step by trying to summarise the process can take quite a while. So based on those main factors and a few others, you're trying to find a location. So it might be an empty store, or say for instance, like everyone knows the new Trafford store, which is amazing.
Yes.
So that used to be the old Top Shop, and we took the first floor. Yeah, I know.
How could you?
I know, poor Top Shop. And it was a better pitch for us and a much better configuration. So it was all on one floor. You've got two entrances for two of the main concepts. So it's a much better shopping experience than the old store. So once you've found the location, you then need to get an idea of sales that you're going to do in that market and size. Then it needs to go to the board for like an initial sign off to say, yes, well, we think you actually can do your job. This is probably right. We should proceed, which is always a plus.
Can stay.
Yeah. And then once we've kind of got the green light, it's about firming up the layout, store planner and shop fitting get involved. A lot more, they try and confirm that part. Our main role is to try and negotiate the lease for that space then. So what we said before about rental terms, term length, and not to bore you, but a few other main points. Once we negotiate that and kind of finalise what we're going to do, then that needs to go back to board for final approval. They'll then approve it again, the whole deal, and then we'll instruct solicitors to do all the legal documentation. And then we get an access date usually, and then shop fit and go on site.
Hand it over. Yeah,
hand it over, then they'll open it and wow, we're in.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot simpler saying it, it's not that.
I mean, it sounds like a long process. How long would you say is the shortest amount of time you would have to do something like that? Like minimum, picking something out the air.
So 6 months plus for a relocation. Like Uxbridge just took years.
Really?
Yeah.
I was across the street. Not the street, across
the shopping centre.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was about trying to confirm the right space with the landlord, which was really, really difficult. There were some issues with the shopping centre building about what we could actually do. So that took years in the making.
Wow.
So yeah, it can take quite a while.
Yeah.
Just depends on the situation.
Have you this is a random question by the way, this is a curveball. Have you ever gone into, because you know you have like 2 floors in a shopping centre. Have you ever been like, this is perfect, I like the bottom, we don't want the top? Is that possible to do? Because obviously in shopping centres you can have just like, you don't have to have both.
Yeah.
But do they come together, or can you say like, I want one or the other?
Yes.
You can split them up.
You can split them up, you can put them in. So like the store in Uxbridge, that staircase wasn't there, so we put it in.
Really?
Yeah, so those two particular stores, which is old Arcadia brands again. Oh, I know. We put the staircase in to connect the two. So you can do, depends on the shopping centre.
Okay. In terms of working in property and retail, and working in property, and obviously when you think of property, people think, oh, I'm buying a house. Like, that's kind of where you go.
The amount of times I've been called an estate agent is...
Exactly, so that's where people...
No offence to estate agents, just quickly.
No, I mean,
They're fine. I've got friends who are estate agents, got nothing against them.
It's fine, it's just not you. That's not your job here.
No.
So, working in property, what is different working in property in retail and working in property in other sectors, like just sectors that are not retail?
Yeah.
What is the difference, and how are you finding it working in an in-house property team for retail?
So retail generally is different because I think it changes a lot quicker. It's got fashion in particular is really quick paced.
Yeah.
There's a lot of changes and it's forever changing. Like if you look at, unfortunately, the decline of the high street in certain towns compared to what it is now, I would say offices are offices, they don't usually change, and warehouses and industrial is kind of usually always a warehouse. There's been changes with the rise of logistics and data centres, etc. But retail is constantly changing and evolving, so there's a lot of differences in that respect, which is one of the reasons why I love it. And working in-house is amazing. It's very different to working outside in a property company, which its main focus is property, obviously, because it's a property company. But working in-house, your main focus here is obviously selling clothes and making money. So there's two different focuses of the business. And I said I landed in property as well at the start. Might have not been my go-to love, but selling clothes and the retail sector I do love and I do really enjoy. And working in-house, you get to learn a lot more about the business and the people you can speak to. Like if I was in a property company, would I probably be sitting in this? No. So there's a lot of differences, and you can speak to loads of different people. And if you want to learn about merch, marketing, it's got a whole business view, whereas you don't necessarily get that in property. You've kind of got your channel, you've got your lane, and that's the one that you stay in.
Yeah, and like we spoke about earlier, people working in retail that have been here for years, and you can kind of learn about what it's like to work in retail and go and talk to these teams.
Yeah,
you can kind of learn something
you're
new.
not going to get that. Well, you're not necessarily going to get that in a property company. So it's great.
Yeah. So back to talking about retail, we just spoke about other sectors, and we're in retail. What trends are happening? What are you seeing in terms of property movement in the retail sector? What's it looking like?
Brands are focusing a lot on what they're good at and what they do. There's a lot more effort and impetus put on making sure the store location identifies their actual brand, rather than just having a store that sells something. So you can see that with a lot of brands. If you go to like the new Zara flagships, they've got these massive flagships now that they're opening and focusing on that look and feel like their brand, like their clothing. And you can say that about a lot of the others, like the new Uniqlo stores as well. They're great. Like I went to the one in Edinburgh, they've got a cafe on the top floor. The cafe look and feels like the rest of their store and like their brand.
Was the food good though?
I didn't buy it.
Oh, it's just no comment.
Just visiting. But there's a lot of focus on making the store locations be kind of brand builders, like the really good ones like Gymshark on Regent Street. That was a brand builder massively, and now they're opening new stores across the country. So you've got online players, a lot of them now trying to get into the physical space. Like we spoke about pop-ups and Shein, even pure online players that you thought would never come into the physical space. There's
testing it out a bit,
they can see the advantage, and a lot of it is about customer engagement and creating loyalty, and that experience where people can't get that online and on a screen. So there's a lot of them doing it, and people after COVID, I think a lot of people thought online was going to be the big thing, and a lot of it was just going to stay online, and it hasn't. People are out shopping, they want that experience, and the people who are going to shops, although there's probably less people shopping, there are more, especially in fashion, the people who are actually going are actually buying stuff. So conversion's a big thing. And the type of property that people are going to, as we said, like declining the high street, retail parks are very popular for obvious reasons, free parking, easy access. And then the big regional shopping centres, because I think the big thing with online is you click at a button, you've got everything. It's hard to give that in retail and in stores, But if you're going to a like Stratford or Thurrock, for instance, or Trafford Centre in Manchester, you can shop a lot more ranges, which people want. People want to enjoy. Like, you don't want to go shopping, not be able to get what you want, and then have to go online anyway.
Yeah.
So it's about getting that experience. And there's a crossover. So people go in store, see what the fabric looks like, and then they might go home and still buy it online, but they've been able to look at it and test it.
Get the feel.
Yeah, get the feel and the look. So,
when you go out shopping for yourself, we'll get to like your fashion
you're gonna try and,
later.
Yeah.
No.
You're creating a hole for me to try and jump in.
No,
okay.
This is going to be an easy question, I promise.
Okay.
When you go shopping, are you always working? As in, when you go into...
Yeah, it's annoying. I just want to enjoy shopping. I know where you go.
Like, oh, property.
Yeah. That store looks great. Oh, where should we be?
Are you like always switched on?
When I'm shopping, yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's kind of frustrating. You just want to go in and chill and enjoy the experience, but you're kind of looking around, often seeing what people are doing. So like new concepts, new things they're trying, store layouts. What else have they brought in? Like what concessions, like Next in particular, what are they putting in? What does the store feel like? What's on offer? What's the omni-channel experience? Even the change rooms. Like, I love our new change rooms.
Oh yeah, I love them.
I love them.
I'm with you.
They're so good.
I'm with you.
The most difficult part is naturally property is slow. Takes like relocations, for instance, when I was saying like minimum is still months and months and months. The nature of retail is quite fast paced, and especially fashion. So you're trying to adapt or evolve can be difficult. So that not only affects our team, but it will obviously affect other teams. Like trends change really quickly. Like what could be in fashion in a store layout within 1 year could suddenly go out the next. So it is difficult. So it's trying to keep up to pace, even though the property sector naturally can be slow at times, which is just the way it is.
Yeah. And what's the most, we kind of spoke about the most exciting thing, but what kind of makes you get up in the morning? It's like, I get to work in property today. I don't know, I said it very childish. Let's do that one more time.
That's all right.
What makes you excited, like, that I get to go and do this, that I'm excited about going to do this specific thing?
Like the people, working with people every day. It's not a solo job for sure. So working with teams, creating stuff if you are working on relocations and trying to get something from an idea to actually opening is amazing. That's such a good feeling.
See, now you look excited.
Yeah, trying to bait me out again. When you like, I remember going to the Belfast opening, and that was amazing, and just the idea of what that store looked like before to what it did when it opened, that was great. Doing deals, I like negotiating, and I want to just negotiating, so trying to create relationships, negotiating with landlords and agents, and meeting new people, not just working with the people so you're constantly meeting new landlords, new agents, and people out and about that you need to try and create relationships with, which is great. And I love working in-house particularly, especially the reasons we said before about working at a business. You learn a lot more about the business as a whole and in other areas. And fashion, the people are different, like the vibe's different. Like you walk in a head office, you know that you're in a fashion
it's not like going and wearing a suit to your interview.
Yeah, that was awkward.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, it's a lot more chill.
My previous jobs were suits. So
yeah.
And then suddenly it
different.
wasn't, but no one told me. So I was like,
Oh,
so yeah, it's very different.
I wish we had footage of like your face.
I'm glad we don't. It was awful. It's so bad.
So working in property, it's kind of like a back of house function. It's kind of hidden. People don't really, when you think of River Island, you think about the products and all the kind of stuff in it. You don't think about the outer shell of it and all that kind of side of things. So what is something that you want people to know about property? This is your moment.
It's my sales moment.
This is your sales pitch, your, what is it, USP, whatever.
Yeah.
Your chance to be like, this is what I want people to know about property. It's great. It's amazing. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. But this is your chance to put property on the map. What are you gonna? No pressure.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure in that sentence. I'm not gonna lie. Try to take it on chin. The people are amazing. I think that's number one.
Yeah.
People think it's a back of house function and tends to just be an office job.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people probably think. But a lot of people that work in retail and particularly in-house usually do because they love retail and they probably started in property and didn't think, oh, I want to be a designer, or I want to work in merch, or I want to be in marketing. They were and then they found themselves at a retail, and they, particularly the ones who have worked in fashion, and they love fashion and they love the vibe, they love the people. So although it's an office, although it's a back of house function, the people working in it don't give them the stereotypes of office workers, because they're not, which it can be a shame, but they tend to be like, a lot of them are a lot like the creators that work in retail.
I mean, to be fair, I know your team.
Yeah.
I technically officially met you today.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm still trying to figure out if you're boring or not.
Right, okay.
You're like skating, not over.
Okay,
No, I know your team, and like obviously you're good vibes. Everyone's gonna see that, but like your team is great. Like everyone in your team is great. So I can confirm, that everyone in property, in retail it's a nice
vibe.
Yeah.
Which is good. Which is why people stay and people want to work here. And then we liaise with a lot of, like, we work closely with shop fitting. They're great. The finance team, Zuba, shout out, she's great. The in-house solicitors, they're great, which is a really nice vibe.
Yeah, you're naming a lot of functions that are considered boring, and you'd be like, back of house. No, considered. I never said it was. I said considered.
It's how you said boring was quite convincing.
No, but like you think, finance, numbers, legal, contracts, like, But all the teams that you mentioned, like, I have the image of the teams in my head. We've got like some great, interesting people. Yeah.
The other side of property, I think I said before, you work at the end of the day. You're working with people. A lot of it is about people, which I love. I would hate to sit in an office or on my own, not talking to anyone.
And you get to travel.
You get to travel around the country, which is great, unless you're in Wetherspoons on your own on a rainy night in winter. That's less ideal.
I don't know how you've made Wetherspoons sound so depressing.
I love Wetherspoons.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so good.
Wetherspoons.
But if you're getting like the £5.50 dinner meal curry on a Wednesday night, and by yourself, and it's raining, and you look around and you go, going to places is great. Meeting people is great. Meeting the store managers is great. Everyone's got a story, and it's nice just to see the country and see what places are like, what people are like. Like, a lot of people don't get that in their job. Like, you could be down in Cornwall, or you could be up in the depths of Scotland or Ireland, which is great. And we've got some great people out there. And they don't necessarily always get visited either.
Yeah,
so,
or seen.
So when you go and speak to them, it's really nice they get a vibe off it, and that it's not just in the middle of nowhere and no one goes. Like, we do care about them. And the property team especially. Yeah. Because we want them to be the best stores they can be.
Oh. That's going to be like the clip that we pull out and put everywhere. Okay, so we've spoken all things property. Yeah. We've spoken about you. You told us that people that work in property in retail usually work in retail because they enjoy fashion. Yeah. They enjoy product and clothing and that kind of side of things. So tell us a bit about you and your journey with, like, do you like fashion? What do you love about it? What's your favourite thing about fashion? Are you a shopper?
Yes, I love shopping. Probably not all guys do. That's a stereotype. Probably shouldn't say that. But Yeah, I love it. I love going shopping. I probably love it a lot more than my missus, who moans at me because I take too long. And she's like, we don't have all day. I do. Going around to all the different shops, seeing what they like, products. Like, I really enjoy it.
And then if you weren't working in property, but could work somewhere else in fashion or retail in River Island, where would you go? What team would you work in, and why? If I focus on River Island, ignoring that I have zero of the skill or experience. It doesn't matter. If someone was like, I'll drop all the skill into your lap today, that'd be amazing. You could work anywhere. It would be great. Why can't that be a thing? If they just gave me all the skills? Yeah. Where would you go? What would you want to... Menswear design, probably. So I'm sat in front of you in the internal comms team, and that was your opportunity to say internal comms then, and you didn't. So I'm trying to figure out what happened there. And that's the end of our podcast. I'm just kidding. Why would you work in design? What appeals to you about that sort of thing? It's a bit like the property side. So like, it's in retail, like, it's ever changing, fashion's constantly changing, keeping up with trends. I think I might have said my favourite bit is about relocations and new stores and idea to opening. Yeah. It's the same creativity and idea that you've got in your head about a piece of clothing, that you've got that, and then suddenly it comes into real life existence. It's a great answer. And if it sells. And I love men's fashion. You might not be able to tell. No. I'm taking that joke away before you can say it. I wasn't going to say it. Well, I was going to say it's fine. Okay. It's fine. No, mediocre. Back to mediocre. It's good. Okay, go. Time out. So okay. That's why. That's a good answer. That makes sense. That matches your... Okay. My last question, and we asked everyone this question. Yeah. If you were a River Island product, what product would you be, and why would you be it? I had an answer, but I'm not sure I want to say it now. But probably a plain black tee, Studios tee. I'm going to give you another chance. We just spoke about how people in property are excited. I know. I don't know if you want to rethink the answer to make yourself seem more... Not boring. I never said that. You said that. Mediocre. You can say that though. Is there a reason for the answer? The plain black tee. It's good in all occasions. That's fair. We can accept that. Which it is. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to think all the time when you're going to wear it. It's just there. It's versatile. And to be honest, it usually looks good. I'm glad I'm not wearing it now, because you'd probably say it's not. If I had to pick a different product... The plain black tee is a good answer. I feel like that's the answer for somebody that's into fashion, because you know how versatile it is. Yeah. And it's nice to have one statement piece. Yes. It's not a statement piece. Staple piece is what I'm saying. And if I weren't a black tee, I do like black, as you can probably tell. Yeah. I'd be the black long coat. I'm not sure if we've got any coming up for autumn winter, but I hope so. That's it. I have no more questions for you, James. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you both. Yeah, so make sure you leave a comment. Let us know if you think James is boring. Cheers. Or if you... I'm just kidding. If he's entertained you. No, it's been great. Thank you so much for coming. And everyone else, we will see you in the next episode of the podcast. Make sure you check out our previous episode, as mentioned, with our learning and development team. And we've got a great episode next. But for now, let us know what you think of this episode of the podcast. And terrible. See you later. I didn't say it. You did. Bye.